years experience on traditional ships and specific project management skills for Sailcargo initiatives. Growing up just north of Kingston, she began her sailing career with the St. Lawrence II. She then moved to larger ships, including the Swan Fan Macomb at the age of 16. Founder of Topsail Rigging Limited, she has focused her attention in recent years to gaining knowledge of the build stage of large-scale projects. Most recently, Danielle has begun to work alongside Richard Tefson, sailmaster in Harlingen, the Netherlands. Sailmaster is a company that builds and rigs tall ships and moves them from one location to another. The spider in the web that organizes and coordinates all contributions to a successful project. Please give Danielle a warm Shellback welcome.
Hello? Is this, can everybody hear me all right? A little bit louder? I can also hold it if that's better.
That's better.
Okay, great. Hi, my name is Danielle and I'm here for the second time, which I'm very happy about. So thank you so much for everybody, Diane, for welcoming me to Shellbacks. I appreciate that. So I'm here to talk to you about my project, as I did last year, which is Ceiba, and we are located in Costa Rica. And to explain what Ceiba means, that's actually the name of the ship, and it's a tree that's very unique looking, that grows in Central America, and the Mayan people believe that it connects this living world with the next spirit world through the roots of the tree. So it's a very spiritual tree down there, and it's a very beautiful, unique looking tree as well. So that's the name. And this is what the ship is going to look like. So some of you may remember from last year that this is a 3-masted vessel. It's 45 meters overall, approximately 150 feet. And her sole purpose will be to carry cargo from Central America up to Vancouver, as we will be on the west coast. So, an interesting point about Ceiba is that she will have an electric engine. So while it will be a primarily sail-powered vessel, meaning using the actual canvas and the wind, she will also have a 100% electric engine. It will be the largest type of marine electric engine in the world of its kind. And this is an example of the Opal, which I worked on in Iceland, that has the prototype design of this engine. So I was actually, I'm not sure if I was on board during that picture, but I installed all those square rig sails, and that photo's in Greenland. We learned a lot from that prototype engine, and we've been able to make some changes in our design which should improve the efficiency. So just briefly, the team. The first photo on the top left is my partner, Lynx. He's originally from Sherbrooke in the eastern townships of Quebec. And in the center is me. And then closer to me is John Porras, who is our business advisor, who is Costa Rican. And I just wanted to give a brief special mention to the ladies that actually cook at our shipyard, which are Marisol, Marcelina, and Maria. And they are Costa Rican ladies that provide all the cooking every day. And they represent the Women's Association of the area. So we're very happy to have them cooking us our Costa Rican meals 3 times a day. And then just to show a bit about life at the shipyard and our crew, that's Lynx, my co-founder, trying out one of our new chainsaws. So at the shipyard in Costa Rica, we are building everything from scratch. We essentially started with a 3.5 acre plot of land, which was more or less a field with a couple nice large trees. And we built everything from all the shops and all of the hangar, shipbuilding hangar to office and everything in between. So this is actually, I believe, one of our keel timbers that Lynx is cutting, which is the tropical hardwood that was brought down by a hurricane. So I think he's really enjoying the chainsaw. Oh, and just to say, if anybody like to stop me at any point to ask a question, that's all right, because there's a lot of information. This is part of our team as well, just keeping on with the team. And this was donated cypress trees, which are a conifer that are non-native to where we were. So the person actually donated 400 cypress trees to the project, which was a massive donation. And they're removing them in the most sustainable manner as possible, and then we will replant with native trees. But to give you a sense of our team.
Sorry, cypress trees that are not native, where did they come from?
They're actually from southern Mexico. So they're not
They were shipped.
Yeah, well, they were planted there.
Really?
Yeah, they plant them as windbreakers, and they planted them, but the roots don't grow as deep. So when they get older, they fall more easily. So people like to have them cut down.
Just like us.
Yeah. But just to give a sense of our team, this is a snapshot. So our team is up to 20 people full time. And this man is from Costa Rica, England, Quebec, Netherlands, France, and Germany. And so that's just one snapshot of the, what we call them, the Sustainable Forestry Division. And then one more snapshot of the team. This was actually cutting a scarf joint in one of the keel timbers. So this is approximately 1/4 of the keel, the length. So that goes, well, it's hard to say, but it would go down to there. And they're cutting the scarf joint, so an angle that will join two pieces of wood. They're cutting that with the Alaskan chainsaw mill. So this gentleman here, who's from France, is keeping a close eye on how it's going because he's the one who built the jig. So if a jig is like a guide or a pattern. So if he built it and something's going weird, he should be the first one to say, stop. And it went well. It went very well. We actually laid the keel on January 8th of this year. So it's 106 feet long, the keel.
Whereabouts in Costa Rica are you?
We are located 1 hour north of Punta Arenas on the west coast. So it's a tiny town no one's heard of called Punta Morales. It's nice. And just to go just briefly more into the team, this just represents our network as it's grown. So we have some different corporate sponsorships. They're minimal. Well, I don't want to say they're minimal. They give us one chainsaw, or they are giving us a discount. So when I say corporate sponsorships, it's not like they're running the show. But we are so happy to have Steel as one of our sponsors, and it's great because the guy will come right out to the shipyard, so that makes a difference. And Grandberg International, they're the makers of the Alaskan chainsaw mill, which has cut almost everything. And a whole wealth of other people in our network that support us from everything from tree planting to sending us interns from boat building schools, and yeah, we're very lucky. And again, that's a shot of, I believe it might be the same tree, I'm not sure, but it's the same species of tree that you saw the other boys cutting in the previous photos, the big ones. So this is a Tamarindo del Monte, which is a tropical hardwood from Costa Rica.
The 20 people that are working, is that volunteer work or are they paid?
It's a combination. So we try to have 50% Costa Rican people on the team all the time, and they're all paid. And for the whole point up until recently, everyone who is not from Costa Rica was volunteer. But now we're beginning to get into real shipbuilding, so we're able to bring in skilled professionals from other countries that we do pay, because they do not have wooden shipbuilding in Costa Rica of this scale. But this was brought down by a hurricane, and that is a keel timber there, one of them. Just briefly into the design. Now this slide has way too much information, but I'm not sure if anyone here is the type of person that takes photos. You could capture that information. But that's the technical lines plan as provided by our architect. And we've got some more exciting drawings here. So you can see an important difference we made from the Icelandic ship that I showed earlier. We decided to go with 2 propellers because with one propeller, when you're charging, which would be in the center of the rudder, it created underwater turbulence and it made it very difficult for them to steer the ship. Apparently it was really scary. So we decided immediately to go with 2 propellers to give the rudder a lot more underwater hydrodynamic clarity, I guess you could say. And you can see the cargo holds there. which are covered in green tarps, which is very on brand. So, moving forward, just another view of the ship from above, the 3 masts. Solar panels are shown. This is the architect's rendering, so we can change it as we like. Are there any questions about the design at this point?
How much of your electrical energy are you going to get from the propellers and how much from solar?
It is hard to say at this point because the other vessel had so many issues that it is difficult. So I'm not able to answer that right now, but we are hoping. The other reason it's difficult to say is that we will be sailing in much calmer waters. So it's not like the North Sea, which has really strong winds. So we will be more in tropical waters, which is why we put more solar panels to compensate. So I'm not sure, but it should be able to generate a significant amount.
And just one other question about the sail plans. It looks like a very traditional rig. Why wouldn't you go with something more modern that might be more efficient?
So the question is, why would we not choose a more modern type of rigging? And the answer is there's several contributing factors. One of them is that it's slightly more modern than people think. So this would have been active in the 1930s, this type of rigging. And we will also be using a combination of traditional and modern materials. So we won't be using old cotton sails. We'll have more modern materials, so that immediately increases efficiency. We will also have electric winches. But at the same time, the thing about this is that it's very simple to maintain. You can do it by yourself when you're sailing. Say you're pulling into some Central American port or island that has very little in terms of what they can offer for rigging supplies. We are investing a lot and risking a lot by choosing to use an avant-garde electric engine. And I know that there are not a lot of people and technicians who will be able to repair that. So we basically want our other engine, the sails, to be very simple to repair. So if anything happens with the electric engine, no worries, we can fix the sails ourselves on board.
And you're running with 2 electric engines, is that correct?
Yes, there will be 2 inline electric engines.
How many crew are necessary, or that you would usually travel with?
So for long offshore voyages, we have a minimum of 12 crew, and we will take up to an additional 12 guest crew, which could be anything from trainees to shareholders to scientists or journalists.
Would they pay for the extra crew?
Yes, depending on what their position is when they step on board, it might be waived, or for just straight trainee, somebody who wants to learn the ropes and move up the ranks, we're charging $150 a day. Which is comparable. Actually, the Icelandic boat that I showed you earlier was approximately 800 euros a day that I worked on, and it's a lot smaller and colder. So it's a wide range for sail training, but that's a base price that we would work with.
What an experience.
Next, okay, moving forward. So this is our actual shipyard. This photo's kind of dark. We had it taken in 2017 by a drone, and though we've had other drone photos used, I continue to use this dark one because it has a freighter up there at the end of the point, which kind of gives a sense of scale and accessibility. So here in the murky dark part, unfortunately, is the shipyard. And the shipyard is this big. And here is a deep water channel, relatively deep. Not that deep. Going out. And this is taken at lowest low tide. So this line that you see here is all mud flats. So there's a 12-foot tide difference. This is all mangrove. So there are crocodiles there. So I say to the guides at the shipyard, you're not allowed to go swimming on our mangrove side, and if I catch you, you gotta buy a case of beer. I haven't caught anyone yet. But here on the other side is really luxurious. 10-minute walk away is Little White Beach with no crocodiles. Okay,
That's
great,
perfect,
thank
yeah.
you. So just to give a sense of,
No, you struck oils. Turn them off. No, turn them off. There we go, perfect.
Thank you.
So just to give a sense of where we were last year, this is a photo from just a few weeks before I arrived here last year, when we were beginning to dig the foundation holes for the keel. So the keel sits on posts, wooden posts, that run the length of it. And we were literally digging these holes and moving rocks, river rocks, by hand. That's my co-founder Lynx, again you saw before. And that's the water's edge. And so that was 1 year ago. And this is where we are now.
Wow.
So that little kind of blue spot through the trees, that's just branches. That was the same water's edge you saw in the previous photo. And you can't see it now, but the foundation posts we dug are right there. So under that canvas hanger. And we also built other steel shops, crew accommodations, office, bathroom facilities, workshop, and other things. This is just the end, the tip of the land. And right here is the lofting floor. So this is a full-length 45-meter lofting floor with a tin roof that has the capability to draw the whole plans of the ship full size. So that's the only reason we built that, was to draw the plans. And then this is where we'll actually build the ship. And we chose to use canvas because we'll be able to remove one part when we raise frames, or if we want to place a mast or do anything. It just gives us a lot more flexibility.
So, when you're launching, you're going that way and you have to clear it all out?
Well, correct, except that just looks a lot denser than it is. It's just a couple little branches. I can show you other photos where it looks very clear. So it's an existing water entrance. This here, it also looks overgrown, but it's another existing water entrance. So that's a very green time of year, so it's really, the leaves are just covering a little bit. And then this is the lofting floor under construction. So you can see again for perception the canvas roof there, the lofting floor here. And this is kind of nice because you have several stages. So we have a completed lofting floor, and then we have a gentleman, this is Joaquin from Argentina, working on drawing some of the curves. And then you can see the other gentleman, this is Gero from Germany, and he's completing painting some of the white plywood. And if you just take note here, you can see these are the foundation posts we were digging before, and they're quite low. You'll see that will change. And then just one more note about lofting. So we are operating what we believe is the largest lofting floor in the world, largest active lofting floor in the world. These are the ship's plans provided by the architect, and we draw them full scale. This is Bert van Baar from the Netherlands, a professional boat builder who works at the college in Amsterdam, which is neat because we sang the song about Amsterdam. And he comes down periodically to guide us. It took him 1 month to draw the ship full scale. And then moving on to the other side, so the tin is the lofting floor, the canvas is where we're building the ship. This is one of my favorite photos, and is followed by my current favorite photo, which is where we are now with construction. And this is 4 of 56 full frames that will make up the ship. This is taken from my view in the treehouse office. Welcome to Costa Rica. You can have your office in a treehouse. And this was taken maybe 3 weeks before coming here. So when we are operating optimally, we can put up a frame a week. So there's already 1 more up. And when I return back, there should be 2 more up if they're working. And these cross braces are just temporary. And you can see these parts. So we actually build the frame down here on a stage, and then there's using a really neat winch that attaches to a chainsaw, which is kind of crazy. We pull it out using this winch down this track, and then using everybody together in block and tackle, hoist them up standing. And from laying down to completely hoist it up takes about 8 minutes. So once we got it, the first one took a lot longer. But now, even just by the 3rd frame, we can just raise them.
Do you have any hydro at the site?
Water?
No,
Power.
electricity.
Yes, we do, yeah. We have full grid, water and power. Yeah, which, by the way, in Costa Rica, they have 98% renewable energy all year, every year. Are there any other questions? And so just to the launch, to speak about the launch, because this is a favorite question, this is an architect's rendering of our shipyard and how we will launch the vessel. And you can see there's not a lot of mangrove drawn into this, but we won't be getting rid of it, don't worry. I do have experience launching ships, as some of you may remember. This is the Schooner Ruth at 100 feet on deck, which is the flagship of Barbados. And I wrote and implemented the launch plan of this vessel as captain. It was my very first day as captain, which was exciting, and it went very well. And this is the largest launch in the history of the country. And there's just a couple other images of that day, just to give you a sense that we do have experience with this, and it's something that we believe we can achieve. And then I don't really dwell on this part, but it's just talking about why we're going about doing this. Why are we trying to have an eco-cargo ship that does not create emissions? I won't go into it too deeply, but I'm sure you know that the shipping industry, like many industries, has negative environmental impacts. And this is just talking a little bit more about our values as a company. So we want to have a triple bottom line, which means we want to focus on people, planet, and profits. So thinking about all of those. As an environmental company, we also look at our social fabric of our community, which we aim to support. Okay, not going too into detail here, just showing the route. The blue lines here saying Costa Rica, basically up to Canada, maybe stopping in San Francisco, Mexico, and back. And this little dot is Hawaii. So our main cargo up will be coffee, and the main cargo down will be barley for beer. So we have letters of interest or shown interest from all types of cargoes on this. And the top one up there is actually the chocolate fruit. So that's the cacao fruit, kind of neat. And then just moving forward to talk about our community and some local producers in our area. This is from about 5 minutes away. My cousin took this photo actually. And this is the local artisanal fishermen in our area. And we support them and look to support them using our future dividends reinvestment program, which is something we're working with the University of Worcester in Massachusetts to develop this program. And these are shrimp fishermen, I'm pretty sure. They're hauling up nets of shrimp. And we are working with them as well. We worked with 6 of these fishermen, came to the shipyard to build this boat, which is not done, but they still put it in the water. And you may recognize Bert van Bar's white locks. So that gentleman returned from the Netherlands back to the shipyard, helped to build this boat, which is a United Nations designed vessel for areas that don't have everything. So you can literally build this on the beach. And those 2 younger gentlemen are the fishermen. So just giving, as I come to a close here, closer to the end, just giving a sense of where are we with this project. You saw that we have 4 of 56 frames up, which is the most technical and intensive part. And we have just very approximately say that we're approximately around 8% done this shipbuilding, because we also have the keel, the stem is under construction already, and other aspects. And the other aspects, including the startup phase, land acquisition, tool acquisition, are getting there. Very close to being complete, so that feels really good. And we are currently 27% funded.
What more permits do you need to get?
We are working through the actual launch permit. And it's really interesting because we don't want to get the launch permit too early, because we are leasing the land. We are looking to buy the land. But as soon as the land gets the permit, it's much more attractive. And we already had the major ferry company of the whole country approach us to try to buy the land. And we have a secure agreement, but it's a lease, it will end. And they said, do you have the permits? And we said, no. and then they walked away. They were gonna try to buy it, and so it's a bit of a card game, but it's going well.
What about certification of the vessel? You have started working on that?
Actually, today we are in our first in-person meeting with our Ministry of Transportation representative, who we've been in contact with since the beginning. Ceiba will be completely SOLAS certified. They should be fine for carrying up to 12 passengers and cargo internationally.
But you have to get one of the international companies to certify you and do all that?
No, you would get a Costa Rican representative to come there who's certified as a Costa Rican ship surveyor and certify you as international. And what you would have when we went into Canada or the United States, they would do an inspection. And if they have a problem, I'm sure they'll tell us, but they would just inspect when we're there.
Do you have an overall timeline?
So this is the timeline for till the end of 2019, and we are hoping, fingers crossed, to finish framing by 2019. So that's this one, and you can see some other things, purchasing more wood, stuff like that. But we aim to be in the water by the end of 2021. And that's all funding dependent, and it's going pretty well. If we can keep, it's nice because we have a lot of wood already for the next several months. So it's kind of in the bank. So the progress is just going to happen. We have the people, so that feels really good. And yeah, just as a bit of a close, that's very poor quality photo, sorry. That is the Vega, which is a Swedish ship, which is the closest look and style to Ceiba in the world. Vega is from around 1900 and is actively sailing right now, and it's a beautiful ship. So, thank you so much for your attention.
Do we have any more comments or questions? Ryan?
What other kinds of woods would you be looking for what other kinds of woods would you be looking for various parts of the ship?
Absolutely. So we are looking. Oh yeah, thank you. The question was, what other types of woods will we be searching for the shipbuilding? And we are using Spanish cedar, which is actually a mahogany, for all the frames. We are using Tamarindo del Monte, which is comparable to ironwood or greenheart for the keel, which is laid. And we are also working with a wood called Wapinol. Here in the north, it's more commonly referred to as Jatoba, and that will be for the stem and stern posts and other centerline elements like rudder posts as well, things like that. And we have that. We just had a huge delivery of that just before coming. And for the deck beams, will probably be a combination of hardwood and mahogany, which is a softer hardwood. And for the planking, it's a little bit up in the air still. We do have those 400 cypress trees donated, which are a conifer, like a fir tree. But we're not sure if they will serve the purpose very well. But we're still working on sourcing that. And typically so Costa Rica does grow a lot of teak, but it's like a fast growth plantation teak, which is of lesser quality. So we tend to only use that for the shipyard construction. So it's kind of funny that our shipyard scaffolding is teak, which is kind of crazy to say, but it is, from about 5 kilometers down the road. And our smaller spars, so smaller booms, smaller yards, small things will be of that local cypress. However, our big lower mast and lower booms, or larger booms, are actually going to be from British Columbia, and they will either be Sitka spruce or Douglas fir, and we're very excited because they will be sourced from the only Aboriginal logging company in Canada, which has an environmental permit to selectively manage Haida Gwaii, which is a northern island off of the tip of Vancouver Island. So they're searching for our masts now and advise it could take a year to find the perfect pieces. And I'm just thrilled.
Mast and boom?
Yes.
Mast and boom?
Yeah, all the larger spars. Yeah.
How long does it take when you leave where you are at Punta Morales up to Vancouver area?
Yeah.
I thought you were gonna say to the airport. I thought
How long does it take to get to the airport?
we say that we can do the round trip twice a year. So it's about 2.5 months up, 2.5 months down, 2.5 months up, 2.5 months down, plus stops, plus maintenance. So we say 2 full round trips.
So if someone wanted to go for a week, where would they meet you?
I would say in Vancouver, and we could sail down to San Francisco together. Or San Francisco, we could go to Mexico.
The other day I was, happened to be reading in one of our newspapers. They had a photograph of a lady who was captain of a large airliner. And I've never met a lady sea captain before. So, congratulations.
Thank you so much. Mother?
I'm not sure if you mentioned when you plan to have your launch date.
End of 2021. So we hope to have the ship in the water at the end of 2021.
You mentioned a triple P bottom line. That's very impressive. Congratulations on that. You say you're 27% funded. What sort of funding? Are you a for-profit operation? Are you a not-for-profit?
We are a for-profit corporation,
Right.
and we chose to be for-profit so that we can actually hold up all our financial balance statements at the end of the year and say we're just like you, we're just like any other company, Coca-Cola or whatever, and say we were still able to not only have a positive impact on the environment and the planet, but we also had financial returns that our shareholders are happy with. So to answer your question about funding, we're 27% funded, but we actually we pay people in shares as well, partly if they accept it, so including myself. And so we count that as funded because people have agreed to that in the future. But we are 11% cash investment funded so far.
And what's your target?
$4.2 million US. But we are 27% of the way there.
Are you familiar with it's a micro-lending organization in Costa Rica called Adapte?
No.
No.
Can you repeat the name?
Adapte.
Okay.
And Cabo Rico used to be built in San Juan. I don't know if they still are or not. I don't know if you know Cabo Rico yachts.
No, you'll have to come down and show me.
Where you go, Bob?
Just don't.
I'll grab that name from you later.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other comments or questions? Well, I have a question. You have how many people working for you now? Do you need more?
Yes, we have about 20 people working for us, and we've had 110 people part of the project, having contributed 35,000 hours so far to the project, and we need a lot more.
And if somebody wanted to do that, how would they go about doing it?
They can email me. So we have a couple brochures at the back and booklets and a newsletter sign up, and I believe Judith can attest to the newsletters, so feel free to sign up. We have stickers as well, so just get in touch with me.
I just wanted to say, I'm a shareholder, and it's been a very satisfactory experience. I signed up when you came around last year, and the information flow I get, and just the general feeling of participating in it is well worth it. So I highly recommend becoming a shareholder.
That is so kind, thank you. I wasn't going to point you out, but that's so kind. Thank you.
And how much does a share cost?
What?
How much does a share cost?
Past you.
So the minimum investment used to be $100 US, but thankfully we were able to raise it now to $1,000 US, and it can be Canadian funds. So.
Jim?
Presuming this is going to be a big success, which we're all confident of, is there an aim to build additional ships?
I was asked to write a 50-page expansion plan if somebody were to magically fund everything, and it would see us purchasing the shipyard and building more and more vessels of different sizes. Great, thank you so much.
Thank you, Danielle, and congratulations on your progress and your success so far. I hope that we have instilled some energy to support you. And we have another little token of our appreciation. Thank you very much. Let's give her another warm round of applause. And coming up next week, we have Captain Jim Pound, and he'll take us on his journey sailing the Nile. And then following that, Audrey and Judith Millard will be back in town, and they will take us on Caribbean cruising, Cuba to Grenada. So with that, pipes out.
Good job.